Hello, and welcome to today's session on the Replenish Report to Purchase Order process in Onfinity. This training will guide you through the steps involved in turning inventory insights into actionable procurement decisions. Let's begin with a quick look at our agenda. We will walk through the entire process, starting from generating a Replenish report, then creating a purchase order, and finally completing the transaction with a goods receipt note and invoicing. Now, the objective of this session, the goal of this session, is to enable you to understand the Replenish report to purchase order process and its associated terms in the context of the business processes. It also enables you to test the Replenish report to purchase order process in the context of business requirements. Next, we have the prerequisite before we begin. Make sure you have the access to Onfinity platform with a valid user ID and password. Also, the Onfinity basic setup and master data setup configuration must be completed and available. Now, let's review the Replenish report to purchase order process use case. This will help you better understand the process. So, let's explore a real-world example for clearer understanding. In this scenario, Sonic Ventures uses a replenishment-driven approach to ensure that smartphones is always available for employees to support mobile communication and business apps. The inventory manager reviews the replenishment report and verifies current stock levels. When inventory falls below the predefined replenishment type, for example, only 5 Realme X7 smartphones, below the minimum reorder level of 50 units. In this case, the report suggests ordering 45 smartphones without consider order pack quantity and 60 with consider order pack quantity that is 20 for the Sonic Ventures Mohali warehouse to restore stock levels and prevent potential stockouts. Based on the operational need, the manager decides to initiate a purchase order directly. Upon receiving the smartphones, Sonic Ventures creates a goods receipt note, GRN, to acknowledge the receipt of the smartphones. This GRN references the original purchase order. Finally, the finance team processes the AP invoice to ensure that the invoice is matched against the PO and the GRN, validating quantity and price accuracy. Now, here we have the Replenish report to purchase order process flowchart. This flowchart outlines the process, which begins with the Replenish report, followed by the purchase order, then the goods receipt note, and finally the AP invoice. Each step ensures inventory accuracy and financial compliance. Now let's know the basic master involved in the Replenish report to purchase order process. To record a Replenish report to purchase order process, there are some basic masters which must be available in the system: warehouse with replenish rule, vendor, product with current vendor, attribute set instance, unit of measure, currency, price list, payment term, and payment method. This concludes the conceptual foundation for the Replenish report to purchase order process. By now, you should have a clear understanding of how the process works and the situations in which it should be applied. With this knowledge, you are well prepared to proceed to the step-by-step walkthrough of the process in Onfinity. Let's now move into Onfinity and go through the procedure step by step. Now, we are on the Onfinity login page. Here, enter your user ID, type in your password, and then click Login to access the system. Once you log in, you will land on the Onfinity homepage. Here, you will find various mosaics, each displaying information from current transaction records to support business analysis. You can customize the homepage by adding the mosaics relevant to your role, based on the modules enabled in the system. If you see any default mosaics that are not relevant to you, there is no need for concern, as they can be edited or rearranged according to your requirements. To customize your homepage, simply click on the Mosaic section. If you want to add a specific mosaic available from your modules, just click and drag it onto the homepage. You can also rearrange mosaics by dragging them to your preferred location. For now, let's close this section. To initiate our process, you first need to open the warehouse to set up the replenish rules. We have already set up a few rules for the warehouse in the last session. However, those items or products have already been procured during that session, so their stock levels now meet the required threshold. As a result, these items will not be considered for further replenishment. To access the warehouse, you can either search for Warehouse in the menu search utility or navigate through Menu Path. Go to Master Data Management under the Product Management module. You will find the Warehouse Structure screen. Here, we have the available warehouses for Sonic Venture. These warehouses are filtered based on the login details, where a filter for the Sonic Venture organization is applied. As a result, you will only see warehouses associated with Sonic Venture. To view a warehouse record in single record view for more detail, click on the warehouse name hyperlink. To set up the replenishment rule, navigate to the Set Replenishment Rule tab. Simply click on Set Replenishment Rule tab button, and you will be directed to the Replenish Rule tab. Here, we already have 2 replenish rules created and used in the replenishment report to requisition process. Since the stock for these items is now available in the warehouse, these rules will not be applied for the time being. You can click on the hyperlink to view a rule in single record view. To return to the grid view, simply click the back button. To add a new replenish rule, click on New Record. This will open the form in single record view. On the Set Replenishment Rule tab, you can assign a source warehouse based on specific products. Alternatively, if you want to use a single source warehouse for all transactions, you can link it on the warehouse header. This setup is primarily used for material transfer processes, where items are moved between warehouses. Next, we need to select the product for which we want to create a replenishment rule. For this example, let's use the Realme X7. If there are any attributes available, you can select the appropriate value in the Attribute Set instance field. You may choose an existing record by selecting it and clicking OK. Once selected, the value will be displayed. Click OK again to confirm the attribute. In our use case, we want to maintain a minimum stock level. So, select the replenishment type as reorder minimum level. Then, enter the minimum level value as 50 units. Next, we'll set the order pack quantity to 20 units. After entering these details, save the record to finalize the setup. Another important point. To run the purchase order process, a properly configured vendor must be linked in the Vendor tab. Here, you need to define the current vendor. Only then will you be able to create a purchase order from the Replenish report. To do this, navigate to the product screen. You can zoom into it directly from here, or open it from the menu. For now, open the specific product record for Realme X7 using Zoom option. Now click on the product name hyperlink. This will open the product in single record view. For more details on creating and managing products in the system, please refer to the dedicated Product Master training session. Next, go to the Vendor tab. Click on New Record to define the current vendor for this product. For this example, we will set Brainbox Private Limited as the current vendor. You can define multiple vendors for a product on this tab. However, only one vendor can be defined as the current vendor at any time. Similarly, just like on the Set Replenishment Rule tab, the Vendor tab also includes fields for order pack quantity and minimum order quantity. You can enter quantities here as well. If quantities are specified on the Vendor tab, they will take priority over those defined on the Replenish rule. Additionally, you can specify a particular unit of measure for the vendor, in case they deal with different units. If there is a currency difference, that can also be defined on the currency field. After saving these details, you will be able to create a purchase order directly from the Replenish report. One more important point. For this vendor, you need to ensure that the payment term, payment method, and price list are properly linked. To verify this, let's zoom the vendor. Now click on the vendor name hyperlink to open the vendor record in single record view. Here, check that the price list, payment term, and payment method are correctly assigned. These details will automatically populate on the purchase order. With these configurations in place, you are now ready to proceed with creating the Replenish report process. To open Replenish Report, simply search Replenish Report into Menu Search Utility, or we can move to the Material Management module. Then, under the Reports, we will find the Replenish Report. In the Warehouse field, select the warehouse where the replenishment process will apply and where the replenish rule exists. Next, under Choose Report Type, select how you want the report output to appear. You can choose between CSV, PDF, or leave it at the default setting. Then, under Create, select the type of document you want to generate. You have options such as creating a purchase order, inventory move, or requisition. For this example, we will select Purchase Order. To review the details before proceeding, click OK. The report will display the relevant records. In this use case, since the order pack quantity is not considered, the quantity should appear as 45. However, if you mark the Consider Order Pack Quantity checkbox true, where order pack quantity is 20, the quantity will update to 60. Click OK to confirm, and you will see in the report the order to quantity updated as 60 accordingly. To create the document properly, you need to select the document type, which in this case is purchase order. If multiple products are available for replenishment, and you want to specify which product to use in the creation process, you can select a specific current vendor. Only items linked to that vendor will be included in the purchase order. For now, let's create the purchase order with the document status set to complete. Click OK, and the purchase order will be generated with a complete status. At the last of the report, under Generated Document Information, you will find the generated document number. To open the purchase order, you can either search for it using the Menu Search utility or navigate to Procurement Management. Under Purchase Order, you will find the Purchase Order screen based on all configurations, including prices from the price list and the current vendor. The details will be updated automatically in the purchase order. On the purchase order landing page, you have several filters available to narrow down records. You can filter by Advanced Search, Warehouse, Document Status, and Vendor. Additionally, you can view your purchase order documents in the due and expected order mosaics. From here, you can directly create a goods receipt note, or GRN, by clicking on the document number and selecting the relevant line. The expected order mosaic shows future orders that are scheduled to arrive, while the due mosaic lists orders that have not yet arrived at the warehouse based on their promised delivery dates. Next, we have the Open Purchase Orders KPI. Below that, there are charts used to analyze transactions occurring within the month. These include the monthly purchase trends, showing values over time, the top 10 purchase orders by value, and finally, the top categories by spend, highlighting product categories with the highest expenditures. Now, let's filter the records using the Advanced Search filter for today's purchase orders. Here, you will see the record we filtered. Open it in Single Record View by clicking on the hyperlink to verify the details. The price will update automatically based on the price list configuration. Similarly, the tax will be applied according to the default tax setup. The description will appear as Inventory Replenishment. This is how you proceed with creating a purchase order directly from the Replenish report. Now, we can proceed to create a Goods Receipt Note, or GRN. While it is possible to create a GRN directly from the expected order mosaic in the purchase order screen, for this session, we will create it from the Goods Receipt Note screen. To access GRN screen, go to the menu and search for Goods Receipt Note, or navigate to Material Management. Under Storage Operations, select the Goods Receipt Note screen. This will take you to the GRN landing page, where you will find mosaics to help with filtering. You can filter records using Advanced Search, Document Status, Document Type, Vendor, and Warehouse. Additionally, you can use the pending and expected GRN mosaics to create a GRN directly from these mosaics. The landing page also includes charts for cost comparisons, such as the current year versus last year costs, and a comparison of GRN versus vendor return counts, if any returns have occurred in the system. Finally, there is a top 10 highest stock products chart to help analyze inventory levels. To create a new goods receipt note record manually, click on the New Record mosaic. This will open the screen in single record view. First, select the document type. Next, enter the movement date, which indicates when this transaction is taking place. Then, select the warehouse. If there is a reference order, you can enter it in the order reference field. However, this field has no functional impact and can be skipped for now. If you have any important notes, enter them in the description field. Next, select the vendor. Based on this selection, the location and vendor contact information will be automatically populated. Set the priority according to the importance of the transaction. If applicable, the Incoterm will be linked here. The representative is set by default to the person logged into the system, but this can be changed if another responsible person is handling the transaction. Select the appropriate locator, then save the header. Please note, the drop shipment button relates to the drop shipment process, which we have already covered in a dedicated session. Now we can insert the lines from the purchase order. To do this, click on the Create Lines From button. This will open the Create Lines From page. Here you can enter the few values of the order document number to search for it, or open the order page to select the order directly. If there is already a document selected, clear it before selecting a new order. Once the order is selected, click OK. The product list from the order will appear on the Create Lines From page. If you want to receive a partial quantity, you can edit the quantity directly on this page. For now, we will proceed with the full quantity. Click OK to insert the lines. You can verify the quantities in the composite view. Finally, click on the Complete Document Action button and confirm by clicking OK to complete the record. This ensures that the quantities have been received into your warehouse. After completing the goods receipt note, the next step is to create the accounts payable, or AP, invoice. This task is typically handled by the finance team. If the finance team has access to the GRN screen, they can generate the invoice directly from there. By clicking the Generate Invoice option, confirming the action, and clicking OK, they will be prompted to enter the invoice details. They need to enter the invoice document number received from the vendor. For example, AP10000018. Then, select the document type as AP invoice and click OK. This process will create the invoice directly in the system from the GRN screen. The created AP invoice document number will be displayed at the bottom of the GRN screen. To verify the invoice, open the menu utility and search for AP invoice, or navigate to Financial Management. Under Accounts Payable, select the AP invoice screen. This will take you to the AP invoice landing page, where multiple mosaics are available for filtering and analysis. These mosaics and functionalities are covered in detail in the dedicated AP invoice training session. For now, you can simply view the record using the View Record mosaic. Select the created invoice record, then click the hyperlink to open it in single record view. Here, the price details will be updated directly from the purchase order. You can verify all the information on an invoice screen. If you want to upload a scanned copy of the invoice, you can do so in the DMS document panel. This feature is explained in detail in the dedicated AP invoice training session. Once you have verified all the details, complete the record by clicking the Complete Document Action button and confirm by clicking OK. This completes the entire process, from generating the replenish report and creating the purchase order, to recording the goods receipt note and finally creating the AP invoice. Thank you for joining this session. I hope it has helped clarify the replenish report to purchase order process. If you have any questions or need further assistance, please feel free to reach out.